Hello. Welcome everyone to another episode of the Role Playing Guest. This is Spencer happening here for another quick intro. As you know, this is Season 6, and this is Session 2 of A Cool and Lonely Courage, a game sent to us by Alex White. You can find him on Twitter at @NAlexWhite. Thank you so much for sending us your game, a game that is set in World War II, following the lives of female spies who were doing awesome things during World War II. You have to listen to the episode to kind of get an idea of that. If you want to reach out to us, you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. You can also email us at rolepg13@gmail.com. You can also check out what we're up to on our website, rolepg13.com. There you can also find a link to the Discord network, the Discord channel that we're on, if you want to chat with us more in real time or whatever. Also on Discord is our podcast network, the Necropodicon Podcast Network, and they're doing giveaways for different games that they have. So if you want to get more involved in the Necropodicon Podcast Network, check out the Discord server for more information on how that works. We're also getting ready for Season 7. Nick is going to run that, and he is finally narrowing down the games that he wants to play. So if you have any suggestions, you can reach out to him, or I guess just us, and then we'll get the message to him. He's usually one checking the mail anyway, so he will be the first to see it. Finally, thank you so much to our patrons over the Patreon. You guys are the flint to our steel. Without you, we would just be a useless metal that isn't really used for anything, because everybody knows steel isn't used for anything, because it isn't. The last thing we want to remind you to do is to check out the WHO's website or the CDC's website or any National Health Services website that is heavily involved in fighting this pandemic. Please don't listen to the conspiracy theorists, people like the Plandemic people who just spout out the dumbest things that I've heard in my entire life. Listen to the people who know what they're talking about, doing things like washing your hands, social distancing, covering your coughs, and please remember, and if you're struggling to keep up with these things or finding the motivation to do them, just remember that this isn't just for you. You may have a really good immune system that's able to fight this virus sufficiently and be able to recover from it fully, but there are a lot of other people in the world who don't have perfect immune systems like you. So think about them and, think beyond yourself. Be a good global citizen. Also, happy late Mother's Day to all the mothers who listen to this podcast or other people who identify as a mother in any way, shape, or form. Congratulations to you on another second week of May, or second Sunday of May that has passed. That's all I have. Let's get to the episode. Well, welcome everybody to the Role Playing Guys. I'm Spencer. I am the not GM, person in charge, runner of this game, I suppose, the one who has taken some notes along with everybody else. With me are Rebecca, playing Faye Dubois, or Leonie.
Hey, how's it going?
It's doing quite well. I'm not sure if that was for me or for everybody else, but
Anyone?
I'll take it. And we also have Nick with us, and he is playing Helen, or Yvonne.
Hello.
I'm doing well. And we also have...
Hey, thank you.
We have... are you doing well, Nick? Sorry.
I am, yes. Now that you ask.
I should have asked. That's on me, I suppose. Conversation is a two-way street, or so they tell me. And we have Ty, who is playing Alice, or Coraline.
Bonjour.
Are you playing?
How are you today?
Well, how are you today?
Oh, man.
This has devolved into a very poor conversation. It really shows our social skills.
We've been quarantined for too long.
And I'm playing, working nights from 5 to 5 has really started to catch up on me. And I'm playing Juliana, or Claire, and I'm doing well. Thank you for asking, Spencer. Does anybody want to give a recap of what happened last time when we last recorded last week on Monday?
I certainly can, since I tend to be I usually am the one who does that unless I'm the GM. We went over the nature of the game, how the game is played. How the game is played in chapters, and each person, a card is drawn for each person. That kind of dictates the general a general theme for that character of that chapter. We also went over character creation as well. Rebecca's character, which was the code name of Leonie. Thank you. Right, it's that Fire Emblem character. Yeah, isn't that where you got that name, honey?
No, that's really not where I got that.
That's like a Fire Emblem character name, and that's a character in the latest Fire Emblem. Anyway,
or League of Legends.
Yeah, no.
Is it? I don't know. I've been playing League of Legends recently, but I didn't know there was a Leonie in it.
I won't tell you where I actually got that name from because it'll definitely impact my cool level. So.
Oh, yeah, because
like the rest of us
recording
are cool.
a podcast of us playing TTRPGs makes us so cool.
I don't know. It is pretty cool now. It's pretty mainstream.
Just ask Critical Role, or Critters, as they call them, apparently. Apparently that's a cool term. Anyway, Leonie's arrival scene, the first chapter was arrival, was kind of like the other people in her group were sort of rather dismissive of her, mainly being a woman, or maybe being a newbie, or mostly probably being a woman, just thinking, oh, we don't need you here, but every little bit helps, I guess, essentially. And then for Tyler's character is the one in the bakery, right?
Yes,
That is correct.
And yeah, so meeting the older couple there who is aware of the situation of the SOEs, and also having their assistant there who's also an agent. For Spencer's character, it was just like a luncheon meeting with his character's circuit leader.
Some hot romance was going on there. I love.
It was getting steamy.
Getting real hot.
And then,
like northern France. So
hot. And then for my character, it was a demonstration of my character's boxing prowess, which impressed the rest of my character's circuit. Yeah, I believe we pretty much ended there. We completed the arrival chapter after doing all the explanation of the game mechanics and character creation. And now I believe our plan is to go over the next two chapters, at the very least, which is mission and interlude. One final thing that I want to say, I don't think I told the rest of you this, but this is from Alex White, the creator of this game, on Twitter. When I told him last week that we had started recording, he said, "That's wonderful news. I really hope you enjoy it. One of the things that I found helpful during play is to read aloud a couple of the real-life examples to set the tone at the start of each chapter to help ground it in the historical experiences of the women. The little narrative epilogue is an emotionally important end to it, too. I'm super excited." So, some neat little comments from the game's writer there. So, there you go.
Yeah, I really like his comment, his suggestion to read through one of the real life agents. I'm gonna read through one of them, and I might cut bits and pieces of it when I go through and edit it, but
Sure.
just kind of to get us in the mood.
Yeah.
We'll go through Christina Skarbeck. She was the first one that's listed. Her codename was Pauline. She was Polish. She joined the SOE in 1941 at the age of 39. She was a courier, and she was in the circuit jockey. She was a Polish countess. She was a spy for the British even before the SOE was formed, working tirelessly in her native Poland. In 1944, she joined F Section as there was a great need for experienced field agents like her. She used her English name, Christine Grainville. It's thought that her success as an agent may have encouraged the British to use women as agents. In Poland, she set up spy networks, gathered intelligence about troop and freight movements, organized escape routes, sabotaged communications, and helped blow up the petrol barges. The British ambassador in Budapest said that she was the bravest woman he had ever met, and added that she could do anything with dynamite except for eat it.
What a comment.
Like it. On one occasion, she was captured. While being brutally interrogated, she bit her tongue and convulsed, appearing to cough up blood. The Germans were terrified of tuberculosis and released her. When she was stopped by 2 Italian soldiers and she raised her hands with a grenade in one and the pin in the other, she stared them down and walked backwards into the trees and escaped. On another occasion, she was being hunted with dogs. One came up to her, but she slowly raised her arm, murmuring in Polish and stroking it. The dog's handler moved off, calling for it, but it stayed with her and eventually became a resistance dog. After D-Day, her leader and lover, Francis Kamertz, had been arrested by the Nazis. She went to prison and demanded to see the commander. She told him that she was a British agent and that he had better release the prisoners or it would go worse for him. She spent 3 hours painting a darker and darker picture, and eventually the commander agreed to help all of them escape. The commander said to Francis, "What a wonderful woman you have." These women were pretty awesome. Did a lot of really, really cool things. So I think that kind of gets us in the mood, I suppose. Gets the tone set. So today we're going to be going through the mission. As we said last time, the scene that we're in is all 4 women have been captured by the Nazis. They've already been intermittently tortured and are whispering to each other the stories of what their life was like during their freedom and as special agents. So the mission chapter, there are many kinds of missions: sabotage, reconnaissance, assassination, courier, wireless transmitting. The Nazis will be brutal in their retaliation against both the resistance and the local population, who they will happily blame for any problems. They want to make the local people more likely to turn in outsiders, resistance, and SOE members. Being stopped or having your papers forged, or having your forged paper checked is always a risk when doing courier work. Finding somewhere safe for a wireless transmission and completing it before the radio cars track you down is also another risk. So, the order that we have established is Faye first, or Leonie, then Yvonne, then Coraline, and then Claire. So here is...
A 4 of diamonds.
4 of diamonds.
Jeez.
Success.
Kind of leaning towards 5, honestly. Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see follow-up of her proving herself, too.
All right.
Her team.
Cool. What do you want to explain what the mission is to us now, or do you want to just do the scene and we react in our characters? Or
let me think about this real quick. Okay, so recon mission of someone from the resistance goes well. How do they react to you now? Except resistance will say it's one of the teammates. Yeah. I don't know. Who do you think would be the most interesting person for it to be with?
Jacques.
Well, the characters...
That's what I was kind of thinking, too.
If you want that to be the reaction, if you want it to be like some sort of reconciliation thing, I think Jacques would be the best one for it to be, the best person to be.
Yeah, because he was the most negative, probably.
Yeah.
Sorry. I don't want to be rude.
You know,
Okay.
to be fair, Tyler, some of the real life female SOE agents had it a lot rougher. One of the examples in the rulebook is that upon arrival, one lady overheard that members of her circuit wanted to rob her, maybe even kill her, or get rid of her or something. I don't remember exactly why, but it was brutal.
I feel like there would have been women dealing with guys who felt like they had no place there, whether or not they...
Macho man.
So I believe Tyler was the one who played Jacques last time.
Yeah, Tyler was. So I'm thinking it'll be tail end of this recon mission that they've gone on together, and Leonie was able to get the key pieces of intel that they were looking for because she was female and a good liar.
Maybe
so what I'm thinking is that we split up to try and get the intel. Because us together would be weird.
Okay. Because your husband went missing, right? Well, I guess that's not not part of your cover story, but anyway. Sorry.
No, but I feel like I see Jacques as more of a big gruff army guy, whereas Leonie is very
demure,
more petite, feminine. Yeah, and that just seems like a weird mix to me. But if they each went their own way to try and get the intel and then met up afterward, or we're kind of in the same area watching each other
yeah.
get the intel, but not like together getting the intel, because that just wouldn't work for a cover.
I think that's good.
Well, it was rough going at first with the boys, but I was eventually able to gain their respect after our first successful recon mission. Jacques and I were sent into a Nazi area to try and get some information on where the general was going to be moving in the next few days so we could plan a surprise. And I was able to get the intel using the cover of being a cosmetics salesperson. Was able to successfully girl talk the officer's wife into giving out information that she maybe didn't realize that she was giving.
Oh, yeah.
So we had entered the area, and I was able to walk up to her, and... All right, how are you today?
Oh, I'm doing quite well. How are you?
Good. You're looking very nice today.
Oh, thank you. Not many people notice this.
Yeah, what products do you use?
The brand or the makeup specifically.
This is a man trying to... Sorry. Let's go
great.
back to it. I'm sorry.
It's a general question, and I don't speak French as my first language.
Well, I'm noticing that the toner you're using is slightly off your skin color. I could possibly help you with that.
Damn.
Oh, it's not your fault. Obviously, whoever helped you pick that out was subpar at their job, but we could definitely...
Oh, Dieter bought it for me. I suppose it's not his fault. Moving to France has been so difficult. We're originally from Germany, could you tell?
Oh, really? A little, but it's not blatantly obvious. I think whoever helped him with that purchase may have been trying to undermine a little bit, but we can definitely fix it.
Well, my name is Charlotte. My friends call me Charlie. If you would like to come to... We're staying at this small apartment just above this little cafe over here, if you would like to come over.
Oh, yeah, of course. So, we went over to the apartment, and as we were walking around, I commented, so... It's looking like you're unpacking or packing?
We're packing. We're actually on our way to move. We're moving to another outpost in further west. The war is going quite well, and I'm looking up a French city.
Looking forward to finally settling down somewhere? I know all the moving is tough.
We move all the time. It's quite difficult to try and get our bearings anywhere. It's been... I can't recall the name of where we're moving. It's somewhere... Nantes. Nantes is Nantes. Have you heard of it?
Let's see. That sounds vaguely familiar. I think one of the girls at my school was from there. Yeah,
well, the war has been so successful out here, and my husband is part of the Gestapo, and he's been scheduled to move out there. Apparently there's a large population of resistance workers, and I go where the job calls him.
Wow, you must be so dedicated to be able to go there. Some of the stories you hear about some of the horrible acts the resistance has committed. It's
true. These terrible people are fighting against the more perfect world that we're fighting for. And my husband, he does the best that he can, and sometimes it's just difficult to move around so much, but I try my best to be a supportive wife. What was the name of that toner that you were speaking about?
The toner? It's this one right here. It's names off the cosmetic brand. And of the time period.
Oh. I like how that looks. That's quite nice.
Yeah, so you see here, and using the back of her wrist, she kind of brushes on a little bit of the new product and shows how it does. See, it just matches slightly better some of the undertones.
It's just
on
a
your skin.
shade lighter. I like that. Yeah. Wow. What was your name again?
Leonie.
Leonie. Leonie, if only you were moving to Nantes with us, that would be an absolute delight.
Well, we can get you set up at least so you're ready for the move.
Thank you so much.
So then after making the sale, I was leaving back and met back up with Jacques, and we swapped intel.
Well, I didn't have much success. I went to some of the cafes, bought some coffees, and tried to eavesdrop on some of the higher-ranking Germans, but I didn't hear anything about our Gestapo officer. He mostly just talking about women and what they want to do when they get home, and the new music, that new jazz music, I guess.
Nons.
Nonce? What? It's a place.
That's where they're
What
going.
about it? How do you know that? Are you just making that up?
No, I spoke with the officer's wife.
How did you manage that?
Oh, it's not that hard. I mean, I am a traveling cosmetic salesperson after all. And, I mean, we got to talking. I offered a slight improvement on the shade of her toner, which was just slightly off. Poor thing. Anyway, and we got to talking and went back to their apartment and...
Wait, you went into their apartment?
Oh, yeah.
The Gestapo apartment?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Never underestimate the power of good bluff in a lonely woman.
Ooh.
That's pretty impressive.
Anyway, I have basic information and a vague timeline, but not too many specifics. So, going back now?
Yeah, it sounds like we can go pick up our radio transmitter in the barn, and we can start tapping away, see if we can pass that intel to the British intelligence. But
I mean, I am only a woman, but I do try to do my part.
well, you did more than I thought, so my apologies, but great job.
Yeah, so after we got back and all that, they did warm up to me a little more after that, and things were a lot smoother moving forward.
Nice. That was a good one.
Very nice. That was good.
Woo! She did it.
Charlie, the Gestapo wife.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so I believe that means that Nick is next with
Indeed.
Yvonne.
10 of diamonds. Huh.
Nice. Everyone's successful.
That's weird. Your
Okay.
last card was a 9 of diamonds.
Yeah, what's up with that? Okay. So prompt number 3 says, the strength you discovered in training comes to the fore in a mission and turns out to be vital for its success. How does one of your allies react? So I don't know if this will be like as interesting as, Leonie's scene, because again, the previous scene for Yvonne was also a success. But let's see. So perhaps in a rural area in France, members of my circuit were looking specifically at Nazi army trade routes, where there was shipping goods and things like that, and especially like what goods are going where and so forth. And so it was Yvonne's job to use code to transmit to other outposts elsewhere in France, like what supplies might be heading over there, or what supplies might be leaving from there, and to help inform them of which supply things should they raid perhaps, or try to stop, or things like that. Like try to prioritize different supply trains or things like that. However, Yvonne knew that it was dangerous to be a wireless operator. Even out in seemingly in the middle of nowhere, radio can travel far, and radio can be, radioactivity can apparently be tracked. I don't know the full extent of radio technology in the 1940s. But I'm going to say that this would be a time where she is almost captured. A couple of circuit leaders, as well as other like local resistance people, are here as well, and she's transmitting the trying to transmit a message, and then soldiers come in, and she is able to deal with them somehow. Characters in this one, I feel like they could either be members of the circuit or local resistance. How about actually, here's a fun little twist. How about Eugene is there, along with a couple of local resistance people? Because Eugene's been trying to get better at, fisticuffs or like fighting and stuff like that. So I'll say that not only was it a success for Yvonne personally to have been able to fight them off, but also that Eugene was better because she was able to help him fight them off better.
Okay.
Nice.
That sounds...
Well, I'll have Tyler be one of the,
cool.
You might be like a local French farmer or something like that, but you're part of the resistance and helping to do reconnaissance on supplies. And all right, here we go. That is wonderful, Leonie. I'm very, very glad to hear that things went much better for you for your circuit. That reminds me of a rather successful mission I had out in I think it was in the middle part of rural France. Yes, myself and Eugene and I think a couple other local resistance fighters, we were in a barn, and I was in the middle of transmitting a message. And if you're not familiar with message transmission, you can be traced at any moment, even out there. Right now, we're in the actual scene of what she's describing, speaking as Yvonne back then. Okay, let's see. I'm trying to encode this. This is also when one of her her weakness will come out a little bit.
Robert, is anyone coming? Are we still clear?
Let me go check real quick. I'm just going to check the main road with some of the other men. But we'll make sure.
Be quiet about it, okay?
Yes.
Packs of boxes.
And he's going to leave.
Or what's
Look, Yvonne, you got it. I mean, come on, you got it.
I got it. Yes, yeah, I have. Okay, this is it.
And Robert barges through. There's cars coming.
How many?
Okay.
There's about 3 cars.
3 cars?
Yes.
At that, I was rather alarmed. This is the first time I ran into this situation actually in a mission. So I believe the message was sufficient at that moment, so I decided to stop the transmission and start closing up. But right then, they barged in, and
you gotta hide this. Come on.
All right, so
help me out.
So I quickly closed the briefcase with all of the radio transmissions. We started to run up and out towards the barn door, but then there were several soldiers who had just barged into the door we were about to run out of. And so that's when, of course, as I mentioned, my training started kicking in. I started, I had my briefcase. I even had a book in another hand too. And so I started, doing what I felt I did best. Gave some really nasty bruises and gashes on a couple of soldiers because of the sharp edges of the briefcase. What was most impressive, though, to me was the fact that Eugene was actually able to take out a couple of soldiers as well. And that was just, if you remember, that was not like him. He was a much more timid person. I was expecting you to do more of the work, honestly. And then finally, with the 3 of us, we were able to take down all 5 of the soldiers that were there. So now, back into the scene. Okay.
Hey, me and my men, we'll clean up this mess. We'll handle anyone else that comes. You guys need to leave now with whatever information codes that you just sent.
Right.
So leave it to us. We're going to clean up the scene, but you guys are important to the cause. So
thank you for everything you do. Okay, let's go, Eugene. And so,
are you guys going to be okay, Robert?
We've lived this life for a few years. We can sneak past a few more Nazis, and if we have to, we got our weapons here, so we're more than able to. But I'm glad you guys were able to take them out a little bit more quietly than probably I would.
Well, best of luck to you. And so then Yvonne and Eugene start leaving. Well done, Eugene. Wow. I'll be honest, I expected to do a bit more of the heavy fighting in that one, but you pulled your own. That was amazing.
I guess a month and a half of actually like working with you has paid off a little.
Yeah. I mean, you know, as I said before, I didn't know I had it in me until training. So it was just a matter of learning what you're capable of, I suppose.
Who knows? Maybe I have it in me.
Well, we certainly made a good team, and I do truly believe that I sent the message that we needed to. All the crucial information was in there, and well, when we get back to base, we'll see how well it was received.
I'm excited to hear what Abel has to say about this.
Indeed.
Can't believe you actually got it off.
Yeah, that supply run had a rather large shipment too. So,
well, I mean, if I could give you one feedback, it would be, cut it shorter. Okay.
I will certainly try, definitely. But mission accomplished, and we're both better for it. Let's go back to base. And I think that will end the scene.
Nice.
I should have said 1 car. My bad, guys.
You said 3, and I was like, dang.
We're dead.
I was like,
Western.
they'd probably bring a ton of people, I'm assuming.
Maybe, one would be a radio car that would have, maybe 1 person, and then the other 2 cars have 2 people each. I don't know. I didn't want to... I wanted to make it, kind of impressive, but not totally...
Unbelievable.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say 8, but I'm like, that's probably too much. No, but that I thought that was good.
I thought there was going to be a shootout with that many people. Just
right, and especially in this game, it's less about the action and more about the talking and the relationships. So cool.
Are you ready, Ty?
Oh boy, here we go. Ooh, another romance.
Wow, an ace of hearts of all things.
Gosh, you guys are killing me with these romances.
Well, it doesn't have to be romance. One of the prompts, for example, is about a child, for example.
All right, let's see. Okay, so since I'm kind of a courier, I might go with option number 6.
Oh, I thought you were going to say 1.
Oh, that could be a good one too. I like the maybe not in a cafe. I kind of want to say maybe in a train yard. Maybe we're trying to plant some explosives on a train that's going to be leaving. And maybe I'm distracting one of the guards or something along the way, I'm guessing. Now, the only question is, who wants to be the German that I flirt with?
What about Rebecca? She wasn't in the last scene.
That's true. You go with that, Rebecca? You want to play a German officer?
Sure.
Okay.
Why not?
And then we'll have Gaston, and we can also have, why not? We can also have George going with him to plant explosives, maybe on a train or a different part. Include everybody.
All right. George was the older gentleman, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the older gentleman.
That forgot that his wife's name was Dominique.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Oh, Coraline, how are you doing?
My gosh.
I like you a lot.
No, you were referring to your dead ex-wife.
Okay. I honestly,
I just was going with it.
Yeah, I actually felt bad about that. For these, the characters in this world that it makes. I'm just
just as long as it wasn't in real life, Nick.
Of course.
That's all.
If you ever call me Rachel, I'll laugh though.
Well, your sister's name, yeah.
Exactly.
Because anyway.
All right, let's get into this.
Okay.
Oh wow, so you guys had some really successful missions. I can remember one mission I had with a fairly attractive German soldier. Even though I hated Germans, he was very kind and very sweet. But we eventually were able to blow up a train, which was quite exhilarating. But
you and the German
let me get
officer,
into the story. What was that?
You and the German officer, or
No, of course not. That was my friend Gaston and George who were with me. But I had to distract him a little bit so they could get to a train. So cue us kind of at the corner of the road. You see the kind of cars driving around, people going to the market and things like that. And in front of us is a train station, and there's a loading of supplies and ammunition, maybe.
Coraline, is this thing, do you know how to wire this? I wasn't trained in explosives. I don't know this.
Okay, so this is how you're going to do it. You stick that metal rod into the...
You're coming with us, aren't you?
I am, yeah. But I'm just telling you.
Then you do this when we're there.
Oh, okay. Well, you need to know just in case. I don't know if George, if you have any experience with explosives, but
only my baked goods, which have explosively good taste.
They're pretty bomb.
But actually, I have been rather interested to learn about. Not that I would normally do this, but I would love to see you work on this.
Okay, so I'm just going to give you a little run through, just in case if you need to do it.
Okay.
These are the timers, and we're kind of going into the back alley. You stick the timer into the explosive, and then break off the tip on the top near the clock. Okay. Once that's done, it's going to start going. So you need to plan it and leave. You have
how long until these timers go off? Is this going to be blowing up in our town? They said not to do that.
Well, we can either, let them transport all these supplies, or we can try blowing up the railroad somewhere else. I don't know. What do you guys think?
How long did you say the timers lasted, just out of curiosity?
About a minute.
Oh, quite soon. Well, plenty of time for it to run away, certainly. But, I mean, also, regarding well, of course, if it was possible to delay it further, that would be good. But also, at the same time, it's not like the train station's in the middle of town. It could be worse, I suppose.
All right. I'm new to the circuit, so it's up to you guys. We have a chance.
Well,
George, I guess it's your call.
If you say we should take this chance, let's take this chance. Let's go for it.
Let's look and see what's happening. And that's when I saw there was one guard in the location that we were needing to enter. It's one guy.
Just on luck, there's someone here.
There's somebody here, but
I'm not hitting him. You go.
I never felt like I never felt that capable of going toe to toe with a single young officer in his prime.
I already have a citation. If I get written up again, they could throw me in jail. I'm not doing this.
Okay, well let me hit him with something else. And you see Coraline begins to walk across the street. Very confidently. She is very beautiful.
That's right. Yeah.
And she kind of walks up to the guard and says,
"Excuse me, miss, you can't be here. This is a non-civilian area."
"Oh, I know. I have all of this bread that do you want a piece? You're probably hungry, just working so hard.
George,
keeping us safe."
Excellent distraction. Let's go.
Sure.
And I begin to twirl my hair and say, "Oh, have you been in France quite a long time?"
I know. I'm newly stationed here.
Newly stationed? Well, bonjour. So, how do you like France and its different accommodations?
It's very lovely.
It's lovely. Mm.
And what about you? What brings you?
Well, I've lived here my whole life, and I'm currently working at a bakery, and we make this delicious bread. Did you get a piece?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, and how is it?
It was quite wonderful.
Well, I know you work so hard, and I don't want to keep you busy. And as she's saying this, they're kind of setting the explosives.
Yeah, they've been working on it. And actually, they're probably at the point at this time where they're ready to start the timer, but they're kind of waiting for Coraline to walk away or give a cue or something.
And she kind of
it's fine. Nothing happens here anyway.
Well, if you're so bored, then why don't you let me take you around the town? Could I grab your address, maybe?
And I can give you a meeting place.
That sounds great. And she kind of like winks over at you guys. Just not like, almost kind of at him, but you can tell that's kind of a sign.
Was that to us or to the guy?
If I'm being honest, I'm not entirely sure. It was a very clear wink.
Do you guys
He's
look
writing
confused?
it down.
I'm gonna like drop my bread on like kind of my basket. Oh no!
Okay,
Oh no! Let me help. Let me get that for you.
Okay,
and I'm
stalling
like,
even more. Let's do this now.
I'm like, go.
And
Okay, I think
here we
that's
go.
it. That's the sign. That's the sign.
Yep, that's it. We're going. That's it.
Oh, thank you so much. You're just, and I kind of grab his arm, his bicep a little. Wow, I just wish I could have a strong man to help me with more things. But thank you for this meeting place, and let's say tomorrow.
Yes, of course. If the rest of the country is as charming as you, I think I'm going to be very happy here.
And I start walking away, kind of turning around, say, "See you tomorrow."
All right, and then he.
About a minute later, like after all three of the other characters had walked away, Tyler, you want to do the honors?
And right after I gave that nice little head turn and walked down the street a little bit, shaking what my mama gave me, there was the explosion went off and our mission was successful, and I never met up with that man, but I wish I had different circumstances, because he was a very gentle and handsome man. But that's one of my most memorable missions.
Dang.
Oh, this is for me.
Ooh, a king of
Jack of
spades.
spades.
Ooh.
Or king of spades. Oh man, spades is death.
Yep.
We've only introduced one character. Okay.
Oh, it looks like your lover is going to get killed.
I'm going to go with number 2. And it's going to be Noel. So the prompt here is a bomb has been set, but problems with the timer means it has to be detonated by hand. And one of the people has volunteered to do so. It says to tell their spouse, and how do they react? But I feel like this would be a mission that Claire and Noel went on together, mixing business with pleasure, and it just got a little out of hand. Well, I'm glad that the rest of you were able to find some happiness in France before all of this. My mission, the worst mission that I went on, it happened shortly after I had arrived. Noel and I had become a lot closer. We were going on quite a few missions together, and when we weren't on mission together, we decided that we would make our cover story together, and both as spies and as lovers, we would get married. It was going to be a real thing. That was until this mission. Noel and I were at an outpost in the north, and we were supposed to set off a bomb. We had set the timer, and in my time in training, I'd never become very competent with firearms or weapons of any sort, to be honest. That wasn't my strong suit, and that wasn't the reason that I signed up. But the timer wasn't working. And now we're going to cut to the scene.
Okay. So this would be like right when the two of them are like planning the bomb and trying to get it to work?
Yeah, so this is going to be late one evening after curfew. And they're quietly speaking to each other. And they're outside of a bar that has been cleared out, except for Nazi officers, or Nazi people in general. Not just officers, but a few other people. But the French bartenders have been cleared out because they were made aware of what was going on. So it's Noel and Claire standing outside. I'm pretty sure this is how I do it, isn't it? Like, I just break off this part and it should work, right?
It should.
Okay, well...
You're doing everything right, of course.
The timer's only a minute. Let's go.
Yes, let's go.
After waiting for a minute, the minute passes, nothing happens, and I did it right, though, right?
Let's look a little closer at it. I'm not entirely sure what is wrong with this. There must be something faulty with the wiring or something, but
it's not wrong. This is what the book said. This is what it is.
Yeah. Yes. I am afraid that, well, these things can be rather tricky at times. And this needs to be detonated by hand. Looking at this,
we'll come back another night. No, we don't have to do this tonight. We could come back another night. We'll set up the plan. It'll work another night. It'll be okay.
Well, what about the plans that our circuit made tomorrow? The attack plans of our circuit are such that they're counting on the members in that building.
We can get Bernard another night. We can get him at some other point. He's going to come back to this town. We know he will. He has to check up on it. We can get him at some other point. No, just leave it.
I want to leave it, but what if he moves? What if he never comes back here? What if we lose him? These army people, they move all the time, and there's also the fact that we have this bomb here. Well, it has to be set off sometime and somehow, some way. We may as well make use of it. There's something faulty about this bomb. The timer will not work. It has to be set off somehow by hand anyway. And you know how scarce these resources can be, right?
No, please don't. You don't have to do this.
Under other circumstances, I would agree with you, but we have a cause that we're fighting for. And we know that this would likely claim our lives.
No, don't.
This has been in the works for so long. Please, Claire, give me a better option than this.
Wait for me on the other side.
I will.
And I ran. I ran all the way back to the command center. I don't remember hearing the explosion or anything. I saw it in the papers the next day that it went off. And that Noel was gone, and so were 8 Nazis and Bernard Hagel. He sacrificed himself to accomplish the mission. But he was the only one I had in France, and the only man that I'll ever love. And that is Claire.
Right.
So sad. Poor Claire. Poor Claire. So do we want to do one more still? Do we want to
Let's
do
do
the
interlude? Interlude may be a bit faster, perhaps.
Which one's the interlude again?
It's like in between your mission and being caught.
Okay, so like downtime.
Yeah, moments of... Well, Spencer can read it.
All right. After the mission, and those were pretty intense, It is the interlude chapter. There were moments of calm between the storms of activity. Perhaps the Nazis were on the move and everybody had to lay low. Perhaps the weather meant that plans had to be postponed. The interlude is an opportunity to remember more about what it was like living with the people in your circuit, living with the local people nearby, and finding out more about the small acts of local resistance or betrayal or affection. How are you affected by the people around you, and how do you affect them? So, starting with Leonie.
6 of hearts.
Romance.
6 of hearts. Finally, Leonie. Getting hearts.
What we could do maybe is we could, everyone could get their card right off the bat, and then we can kind of ponder what we want to do.
Yeah.
Actually, I wonder if that might be good.
Okay.
Spencer, do you want to go ahead and draw the cards for each of us?
Yeah. So this is for
Yvonne.
Yvonne. Yeah, so that was a 7 of clubs.
7 of clubs.
This is for Coraline, 3 of hearts.
3 of hearts. Wow.
So that is
goodness.
3 hearts in a row. And for
So much love.
For Claire, it is an 8 of spades.
Oh, man.
Jeez, okay.
Jeez, I'm just too much love and you're just too much death.
Yeah. Oh, well. Okay, I think, she's gonna get a letter from her husband.
Ooh.
As in, like, he is still alive. Because she
Oh.
hasn't heard from him in, like, ever. In forever. So, that's gonna be, and talking to another one of the Resistance girls, like, just kind of having the happy moment of, like, he's alive.
Nice. Okay, cool.
So, who wants to volunteer to be a Resistance girl? We'll name her Amy.
Amy.
Any takers?
I'll do it.
Okay. I mean, it wasn't all missions and proving myself. I still remember the day I finally heard from Claude. I was with another one of the Resistance girls, Amy, when I was handed the letter. Oh, sorry, one moment, Amy. I need to read this.
Oh, yeah, certainly, of course.
He's still alive.
Sorry.
Or
who?
at least he was 2 weeks ago. Amy, my husband.
Your husband is still alive?
Claude is still alive.
Wow, that's wonderful news.
He misses me. He's still fighting. He's okay. I thought I'd never hear from him. I thought he was dead.
That is wow. These times surely give us a lot to be grateful for such simple things, huh?
Yeah, I can't believe it. He's a lot more farther south than we are, and it is 2 weeks ago, so I'm not going to get my hopes up too much, but he's alive. Did I ever tell you how we met?
Oh, no, I don't think you have.
So, I came to France for work as a journalist. I was doing a story, I don't remember what exactly, but I hadn't been in France for quite a while and it was in an area I wasn't familiar with. And he came up to me in a cafe and offered to show me around. And, I mean, one thing, he was just so charming and full of himself. I brought him down a peg or two, of course.
Oh, as we all should, of course.
But he had this joie de vivre, this love of life that I'd never seen in anyone else to the same way before. Anyway, I'm sorry. I need to go. I will see you again. I'll see you tomorrow.
Of course. Clearly that love of life has rubbed off on you.
Well, I mean, he showed me how to take joy in the small things and not get so caught up in chasing the next story, but to enjoy the moment.
Well, I'll have to remember that. I'm very happy for you.
Thank you. And she goes in and gives her a hug and then turns and runs off to her quarters. I I almost cried that day. Finding out that he was still alive, it was like hope came back. I was a little more careful moving forward with my missions as well. So that's end scene.
So romantic.
To remind Yvonne, you got the 7 of clubs.
7 of clubs. All right, so
Clubs is mistake or failure, unsuccessful.
yeah, exactly. So I like prompt number 1. A German soldier you've met before seems to be impossible to avoid. Wherever you go around town, there he is. How does this inconvenience you? What does he ask you about? I'm thinking this is probably like more like happenstance. Like, it's not like he's stalking her or anything, but maybe like...
Or maybe he is.
Or maybe he is.
Mm.
Like just like noticing some suspicious activity or something. Because this sounds like something that's like several little scenes in a row, and I don't know if we need to like...
You can just narrate it.
Yeah, I was thinking of just narrating it, if that's alright with the rest of you. Such wonderful news. I don't know why. I don't know why you hearing about, a man you love, the man you love, reminds me of a man that I rather loathe. Which, of course, there are a lot of those out there. But there was one in particular I remember. We were in a little suburb of Marseille, and there was just this one soldier who... And he looked vaguely familiar the first time I saw him. I was simply walking down the road with, briefcase in hand. I was headed to a spot I was headed to a shack in a back alley in the town so I could transmit a very short message, basically a yes or no sort of a thing. And like he just looked at me like he recognized me, and perhaps he was one of those that I knocked his block off in the barn during that other mission I mentioned. I never really pay attention to the faces of these soldiers. I pay much more attention to the uniform, you understand. So it's not like I, memorized some of these people. But he seemed to recognize me, at least the way he looked at me. He didn't say anything. He didn't do anything. He just stared at me for slightly too long, and I turned the corner, and that was it. The transmission went fine. Everything went well. And then after that, there was a lull of circuit activity over the next couple of weeks. Actually, we were a bit at a standstill. There wasn't very much that our circuit was able to do because where we happened to be, and the soldiers had gotten a bit more suspicious. So we were lying low a bit. So I didn't have. I continued to live in the basement apartment of that lovely family who remained oblivious the whole time, thinking that I was still a war widow and everything. Everything was just fine. The family was kind enough to take me out to a cafe, and there was that soldier. He didn't see me this time, I don't think, anyway. But he was there in the cafe the same time that my host family and I were there. And then just the next day, I thought I saw him among the group of 4 soldiers marching down the sidewalk by the house. Anyway, at this point, I thought I was either being, maybe just being overly cautious or something. But it turned out there might have been something to my fears. Because as I was going, to the local library, I do love books. I love reading. He was there in the library, sort of in the lobby area. Now, libraries, for the most part, we try to keep them, librarians try to keep them quiet, but I think he chose a particular part of the library where talking was generally okay. People, would talk with, the workers and stuff. He said hi to me, which unsettled me greatly, and that was it. That was all. Within a couple days later, I remember I was running errands, to buy groceries for myself. And he was posted at a corner I had to walk by. He actually stopped me then. He was asking me, where... Well, you might think are routine questions, where was I going, to the grocery store, how has the war been how's the war been treating me and things like that. Anyway, I really hoped, I even prayed, I legitimately prayed that I wouldn't be in that town for much longer. Unfortunately, I was for about a month after that. I had to be extra cautious. Even when the mission started picking back up again, I almost several times a week I had to take the long way around just to make sure that I avoided him. I had to change my path every time. I worked extra hard to make sure my transmissions were shorter. One time it was actually a little too short. Didn't quite give enough information, but I don't know what it was about that officer. I never learned his name, and I've never seen him since I left that town. But I wish I had an opportunity to deck him with a book. That's all.
Nice.
All right. Very good scene. Coraline, are you ready?
Yeah, so I have a scene in mind. Since mine was hearts again, I get to do more romantic stuff with my friends. My first thought was maybe going out with the German soldier, but I thought, nah, that would be dumb. So I'm actually going to have pretty much our whole circuit together at the bakery, just spending dinner together and just socializing and having a good time, drinking and eating and kind of sharing our stories kind of why we're doing this.
Okay.
So we got everybody in the scene.
Nice.
And I guess we'll start with, I guess I'll start it up. Yeah, after that mission with the train and that handsome German soldier. We went back to the bakery and celebrated the success of a mission and the stopping of the Nazis from transporting weapons to a different village, basically. And it was just a great moment where our circuit bonded even closer. Even Gaston, he was maybe a little bit drunk, but he opened up and we all just got to know each other.
I know I wasn't supposed to take extra time on the mission to do this, but in the supply cart that they did have was also food storage, and I managed to get out a couple of these. And Gaston pulls out a long stick of salami, as well as some fresh French cheese.
Oh, Gaston, you are a lifesaver.
Yes.
So
I know, I'm sorry. Focus on the mission.
What are you apologizing
That's the job.
for?
But I couldn't resist. I saw it and I took it.
I mean, we haven't had meat in days, months.
That
probably.
bit of salami's enough for 2 of my baguettes. In fact, I'll take out a couple of baguettes right now. Well, just, don't even cut the salami.
You sit there and I'll grab them. It's fine.
No, I can do it.
I'll grab the bread. You sit there.
Fine. I was going to sneak an extra bite for myself, but
I had that.
If you take a bite, I'm telling on you.
Oh, she knows everything. I've given up at this point.
Oh man. Well, you both handled everything great. I was so proud of you. Even Gaston, you seemed incompetent with explosives, but you handled it quite well.
The last time that I was in a war, I didn't have to deal with it.
So you fought in a war before?
Yeah, I fought in the last one, in the Great War.
Really? You must have been pretty young to have been part of that.
Yeah, I volunteered underage, but France had to defend itself. There's nothing else that we could do. It was either defend our country or let the Germans take over.
Well, God bless you for that. And she puts her glass up to give everyone cheers. Cheers for Gaston and his service and his terrible knowledge with explosive but great ways to find salami.
Ah, yes. What a guy, that Gaston. I'm sorry I had to.
Well played.
Yeah.
We'll pay Disney the royalties later.
You really pulled through there. Oh, yes. I too, I vividly remember the times of the Great War. I will admit I wished that I did certainly hope that we didn't have such times again, but here we are. At the same time, you know, when else are we ever so excited about a tube of meat like this? Hmm?
It's not just a tube of meat. This is pure, beautiful Italian salami. This doesn't come cheap. In the good times, this would be at least a month's paycheck. At least, if not two. Look at this. Have you tasted it?
No, I'm waiting for the bread.
Here you go.
Oh, finally, it's correct.
Melts in the mouth.
You didn't cut them right, sweetie. You're supposed to cut them the long way.
Oh, George, get off your back and just enjoy more wine and cheese.
Of course. I can certainly take these two large pieces and put a bit of meat between them, I suppose. If only my mouth were bigger. Yes, I love you too, sweetie.
We have a lovely couch that has your name on it tonight.
That couch is actually quite comfortable, thank you very much. But I would not prefer that, of course.
It won't be.
George is in the doghouse.
If he's sleeping there, then where am I sleeping, Dominique?
Oh,
You consistently forget that I live here.
No, you have the spare room. Oh, no, you, Gaston. Oh, yeah, you do live here.
No, I'm in the spare room.
Yeah.
It is also quite comfortable. I'm very gracious that you've
All
been
right,
putting
you
us
can
up.
sleep in the pantry.
With the sacks of flour.
I mean, more for me, I suppose.
Yeah, true. But how's
really
your
want
daughter?
some?
Have you heard anything about your daughter?
Oh,
yes, she sent us some lovely pictures.
oh, did she? You never show me these things.
I did show you. You obviously weren't listening.
Oh right, I
Won't
was
be
eating
the first
that. I was eating a baguette at the time.
All right. Well,
Well, let me see them again, please.
fine. Here we go. Pictures of her and the grandkid. Do we have grandkids?
I forgot.
Yes.
Yes,
her and the
I think so.
grandkids.
You have grandkids, yes.
Well, certainly. Oh, yes. Oh, that's what they look like. That's right.
What am I going to do with you?
Oh my
I make life an adventure. You
What
know it.
am I going to do with you?
Oh, you do plenty. Trust me.
I hope you don't mind me asking, but with having a family and a business, why are you guys doing this? What drives you? I guess.
For them. I want our grandchildren to be able to grow up in a in a safer world.
Well, yes. In fact, I would say you said it yourself. We have a family. We have a business. That's why we contribute to this. I guess it's quite as simple as that, honestly.
I mean, if the Germans take over, it's Nazis it's Jews today.
And
But who's it going to be tomorrow?
Who knows who else tomorrow?
That's true. Mm-hmm.
Under a certain light, my hair might seem blonde to you, but it isn't. It is entirely white. It is not blonde. I don't know how they're going to deal with that later. But I'm sorry. I really shouldn't make light of that sort of thing. But yes, yes, Dominique is quite right. We do what we do, and well, we know that you two are far more capable, in helping with the war efforts than we are, and we simply want to do our part.
Well, I'm grateful to you all for helping us. I'm grateful for you putting us up here and taking care of us and risking everything for a cause that's greater than us. And vive la France, right?
Vive
la France.
Vive la France.
And we all take that big chug chug chug.
Yep.
I think that's going to be good for me.
All right.
Oh, it always turns
right.
into the old couple bickering.
Oh, I love it. I love old couple bickering.
We do really good, too.
It's too much fun.
Yeah, you guys are very good at it. I'm a little concerned.
We really don't. That's the funny thing.
We don't do it normally, but yeah, if we were ever like cast in a play as an old couple or whatever, yeah, we totally would.
All right,
So-
here we go, Miss Claire.
I got an 8 of spades, so I'm gonna go with I like number 5 a lot. An accident kills a Nazi that you have met. As they investigate all his contacts, you are questioned about his death.
Oh, that's a.
I'm gonna alter it a little bit, and it's gonna be in the weeks after the mission that I ran with Noel. An informant essentially said that they saw Claire leaving the scene. So they're interrogating her. If anybody wants to volunteer to be a little bit of an angry Nazi.
I suppose I can do that.
We could do good cop, bad cop, 2 Nazis.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do good cop, bad cop.
Okay. So, Tyler, do you want to be the more aggressive one, or do you want to be the more pacifist one?
I mean, we could just both be a super aggressive.
Yeah.
It's up to you. I can play either one. You piped up first, so you can pick.
I tend to, well, as a person, I tend to be a little more passive, or like, maybe. Like,
He's good cop. Tyler's bad cop.
especially
Okay,
since
cool.
Tyler tends to in tabletop RPGs.
He does a really good job of sounding intimidating, and you struggle a little more with that.
All right, let's do this.
So what's happened is this is like within a week or two after the bombing that's killed Bernard Hagel, who is the main officer target of the bombing, and Noel died. So she's being brought in because a French informant saw Claire leaving the scene or out after curfew in that general area. So that's how she was brought in. So you all seem to have such wonderful stories of success and love and happiness. You know, it's really unfortunate. After the mission that I went on with Noel, in the days after, I thought that would be it. I thought my only loss would be him, but it wasn't so simple. Apparently somebody in that area of town saw me leaving moments before the explosion and told the Gestapo. This isn't the first time that I've been captured by them, or I guess not captured, but at least interrogated by them. They brought me in and, well, it wasn't a pleasant experience, and I don't think that it's going to get much better for us here.
So Miss, is it Claire? Is that correct?
Yes, Claire.
Well, thank you for joining us. We just have a few routine questions. Me and my friend. My name is Heinrich.
I'm Hans.
It's Hans, my good friend. Now, I don't know if you're aware of what happened last week. Maybe you saw it in the news, but we had an incident in one of the cafes. A explosion of some kind was set off in the cafe, and a few of our friends and colleagues were killed. Have you heard about that?
Oh my goodness, no. I tutor children. I try not to weigh my mind down with the horrors of what's going on and the current affairs. I prefer focusing on the subject matter and the curriculum that I instruct.
Quite interesting. Were you in the area of Lafayette Square on the Thursday?
Well, yes, of course. I teach a couple of children over there.
And Hans, when does school usually happen in France? Is it at nighttime or daytime? I kind of forget. It's different in Germany sometimes.
Henrik, we do not have to play coy like this, but I mean, all right. Since you ask, I didn't know I was the one being interrogated, but yes, normally it is rather odd the incident happened at nighttime, Miss Claire. Schools in France, to our knowledge, even private schools, happen during the daytime, in the mornings and afternoons. It just seems a bit odd that you would be teaching anyone during that time, or maybe that's not what you're saying. Maybe she said she wasn't. She didn't say she was there at night, did she?
I thought the question was I there on Thursday? And yes, I was teaching Simone and I was teaching Michelle. They're of the Berger family. I always teach them on Thursdays.
Oh, okay.
Berger families, interesting.
Okay.
Am I in trouble? Have I done anything wrong?
Well, nothing is conclusive right now. Just as Henrik said,
we spotted you. We have good word that you were spotted leaving the area after curfew at night in the location of Lafayette Square near the cafe.
Of course, yes. The Bergers were having a small get together. It was Simone's half birthday that we were celebrating, and they invited me as the governess to stay after I finished the instruction for an evening meal and for a small party.
And did you get any documentation to say that you could come out after curfew?
That was my fault. I did not do that. I did not do that because I was unaware that I would be invited to the festivities until the day of. And you know how the offices are in the evenings. After closing time, it's impossible to get permission. There was no way that I could say no to them. They're the ones who are paying my bills, my living expenses. If I were to say no to them, how would I pay rent? Prices are extraordinary as they are already. I would have no choice but to leave town, and I don't know where I would go. I had to stay. The Bergers are the closest thing that I have to family here, and the ones who make up the majority of my payroll. There's no other option that I had other than not to offend the family and take my risk of perhaps leaving after a curfew. We had no idea that it would be after curfew that I would leave either. It was an unfortunate series of circumstances that led to this. And I apologize. It is my fault that I did not expect this to happen.
That all sounds rather likely, but so much misfortune on that same day. It still sounds rather odd. Do we have a transcript of that testimony, Henrik?
Of course, we have that transcript, but I don't have it on person.
Oh, gosh. Well, should you get it or should I?
Oh, here, yeah. If we want it, I can grab it for you.
All right.
And he glares at Claire as he leaves, takes a few minutes, and comes back with a transcript and hands it to Hans, while continuously just staring at Claire, basically.
All right. Yes, according to this, and you can read it here, someone told us that you were found running away from the direction of the cafe at the time appointed, as you see there. So it just sounds, the cafe is not exactly, unless for some reason the celebration was in the cafe, which, the family is still alive as far as we can tell. The family that you teach. So
the Bergers live on the same street as the cafe, yes. And I was leaving because, as Heinrich pointed out so well, it was after curfew, and I would hate to be caught after curfew.
Running away from the explosion. An explosion.
Well, running away from the Bergers' home to get to my home. And that just happened to be on the same street.
If you were outside, you must have heard the explosion then. You said you had no idea that it happened.
I left before that.
Heinrich, what do you think?
I don't trust you. Something is off.
Heinrich, you don't have to
there's
be that blunt, but...
There's no evidence yet. But don't worry, I'm going to look into this incident even more carefully. I'm going to go talk to maybe your friends just to confirm your story, but just know that we'll be watching. And make sure you fill out the paperwork if you're going to be out late.
Of course. I apologize, officer.
Well, it looks like we have what we wanted.
It appears so, yes.
Thank you for coming in today. Know that we'll be in contact.
It was very lucky that I was so good with being able to convince Hans. People have always said that I'm a people person, but I mean, that was definitely the closest that I came to blowing my cover before this. It was awful. And Heinrich's eyes were just piercing and so full of hatred. I've never felt that before. Terrible experience.
Yeah, another good one.
Jeez.
We're grilling you. Grill.
Oh,
Good. That was an intense one. I wasn't sure that. I mean, I almost broke and said, I am good with people and I don't die here. But I decided not to. I decided just to try and stay in it. And,
yeah.
Ooh, man.
Good.
I was good.
I've got 6 characters now, plus myself.
I've got 1, plus none.
Well, technically, you have the 2 officers who just interrogated you.
That's true. I do have them.
Hey, it's your best friend, Emily. I'm just letting you know that this is an intervention.
Why?
Because you're not listening to the best podcasts out there.
Well, what should I be listening to? I need the bad podcasts. Where would I even go to find good ones?
Necropodicon.com. I can take you there.
Okay.
We can go together.
Wow. Let's do it. I have no plans because all I do is listen to podcasts.
Necropodicon. Hard to pronounce, easy to listen.
Dun, da, 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 da.